Welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. The dog's already had enough of it. Good to see you in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. It's a Wednesday. Chelsea against Aston Villa tonight. That's going to be an entertaining game either way. VV Vlad, George Christodoulou, Ross Lawman is back. What a goat. Ross Lawman is back. I want to talk about the midfield today. That is going to be the main point of conversation. Obviously, we will have guests the Gooner, but when it comes to the midfield, we're in a bit of an interesting spot, I think, because there is arguably only one midfielder in Declan Rice that is guaranteed to be at the club next season. And what do you do with that? Gabe, Scoot, Thomas Willis. The dog is really losing her mind. It's good to see you as well. Great to see the lives back. It is great to see them back indeed. What else are we going to talk about? We'll talk, Emilio is back. What a name. What a go. SS90 as well. Yeah, we're going to talk about Marquinhos, who is going back on loan to Brazil. He's going to Fluminense. What do we think about that signing? Do you know what? I don't mind it. Arjun, good to see you as well. In fact, actually, we'll just start with Marquinhos. We'll let people get in before we talk about the midfield and really get into that. But Marquinhos is one of those where I don't think he'll ever play for Arsenal again. From what I've heard when he's been on loan at the likes of Norwich, the people haven't been that impressed with him. And, it's one of those ones where it could have been the next Martinelli, or it could have been, a handful of £1 million that you took a gamble on and it didn't pay off. And look, in the end, we're getting some sort of loan fee from Fluminense to send him back on loan, and they'll have an option to buy. So I don't know what the value of that option to buy will be, but effectively, we're probably not going to lose any money on him. Or if we do, it will be, virtually nothing. And those sorts of signings, I'm just going to let the dog out. She's going crazy. Go on then. Off you go. Those sorts of signings, I don't mind. I don't mind a handful of those gambles because, sometimes you will get Martinelli. I do think we're in a position where getting another Martinelli in the future will always be difficult, mainly down to the fact that I don't think if the Martinelli that joined Arsenal now, I don't think he'd get anywhere near the starting lineup, and I don't think he'd get the chances. And to an extent, you could probably say Marquinhos has had that. Why aren't you using the mic like yesterday? Oh, I should. Oh, it's because it's down here. That's my bad. Is that better? Is the mic better now? That's my bad. I literally forgot I had a mic. Lol. Do you think Sambi will get much game time when he's back? I'll get into that. I'm going to get into the whole midfield. I'll get into the whole midfield thing. Yeah, that's much better. Oh, good. That's me. That's me being a rusty streamer. I apologize. Saliba reminds me of a young Johan Giroud. That sort of presence in the team in the back line. He's better than Giroud, but I know what you're saying, but he's definitely levels above what Giroud was, although Giroud was a bit of a monster for us for a while. But yeah, signings like Marquinhos, don't mind them. Think that they will be more difficult to do in the future just because of how difficult it will be to integrate someone. Yeah, if you're getting someone for a few million quid, they're going to be so raw, and we have so few chances to kind of use those players. And we'll probably see the players like that go out on loan a lot more than obviously Martinelli did. But look, Marquinhos, I wish him all the best. Like I said, I highly doubt we'll see him play for Arsenal again. But it is what it is. What do you think of Johan Bakayoko to Arsenal in the summer? One of the wingers that I would like. Very, very good dribbler of the ball. I think the right wing market is pretty lively going into the summer. I think I tweeted this a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I don't think there's much of an excuse for us not to go out and get a right winger in summer and have that competition / depth for Bukayo Saka. I feel like we actually won't go and do it, but I don't think there's much of an excuse for us not to do it because there are a lot of them out there. Turner and Trusty cost us 6 million and we sold them for 12 million. I'm all in on deals that get us profit like this. Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? Those sorts of deals, you're almost at a point you can't lose. You're at a point where, worst case, probably you're going to break even. And this is the thing that, City have got it down to a T in terms of selling players for lots of money that never even make it into the City first team. And we need to do more of that ourselves, because it's just easy money. For me, first choice in terms of pure talent is Elise at right wing, but too injury prone. Yeah, Elise, like you say, one thing, he's too injury prone. I don't think the way that Palace have handled him has helped that, but early on in his career, it's more injuries than you'd like to see. And then I also don't think he's got a brilliant attitude. I was speaking to someone the other day that said that they'd been speaking to people that know him, and that he's not got a great attitude. I remember when he was at Reading, and there was leaked messages that came out where he was talking about how he wasn't going to be at that. I can't remember what word he used to describe them, but basically it was shat on the club that he was at. So maybe that changes once he does get to the club that he thinks is his level. But it's not great. It's not great. Madrid, they're our UCL rivals. Look, someone said I would win the 9 in 9 trophies challenge if I was in a Madrid shirt. So I didn't win it. But if we get drawn against Madrid, this shirt will be getting buried deep in the closet. I think we need a Martinelli-like profile on the right wing to compete with Saka. Someone direct with explosiveness. Pedro Neto comes to mind. Yeah, Pedro Neto's mine. But again, Pedro Neto's quite injury prone as well. And you might say they're not injury prone. They've just been a bit unlucky with injuries. But given our history of players getting injured, I'm just I just don't want to risk it. And the thing is, there's not even such a thing as risking it, because Thomas Partey had one of the most meticulous injury records in European football when we brought him in, and it's been terrible. City do buybacks, so essentially end up being 2-year loans, then getting a quality player for basically 10 million. Yeah, exactly. 7 minutes late, I hate it. Evening. Good evening, Connor. Good to see you. But yeah, so that's where I'm at on deals like Marquinhos and those low value deals. Don't mind them. Hasn't worked out. Is what it is. But on to the midfield, which is the main thing I want to talk about. And I think I tweeted this yesterday or maybe the day before. But we are in a position going into next season, potentially, where Declan Rice is our only not holding, but defensive-minded midfielder that we have in the squad. Now you've got El Neni, almost certainly going to get sold. You've got, or is even just out of contract. Either way, he's not going to be at the club. You've got Thomas Partey, who I assume will get sold. You've got Jorginho, who is he technically, as of right now, will be out of contract in the summer. We have an option to extend that by a year. And then you've got Declan Rice. In terms of, outright sixes or 6/8s. Oh, and then you've got Sambi Lokonga and Charlie Patino, who, again, the future for them is unknown. And I think that puts us in a bit of an interesting position. So I tweeted, I think our 4 midfielders, I think we'll have 4 midfielders that can fill the 6/defensive 8 spot. And I think they are most likely going to be Declan Rice, obviously, Jorginho, because I think we will extend his contract, Sambi Lokonga, who I think we'll bring back and keep, and then a new signing, who I think will be probably Zubamendi, or that would be my go-to. But if we were to lose Jorginho as well, and we were to decide Sambi Lokonga isn't good enough, or Charlie Patino isn't good enough, we need to go out and buy 3 midfielders, at least 2 midfielders. And some of the replies were saying, yeah, but we've not had Partey, we've barely used Jorginho, we've not had Sambi, we've not used El Neni. And it's yeah, that's because we've used Declan Rice basically every game. If Declan Rice gets injured, we're in a lot of trouble. I just discovered this YouTube channel. Usually follow on Insta. You seem like such a lovely guy. All the best to you with your digital journey and ambitions. Thank you very much, Zan. And I hope you stick around and enjoy the channel. If you are watching and you're not subscribed, then also feel free to do that. Many thanks. But yeah, so with our midfield, I think we bring back Sambi. I think we end up selling Charlie Patino. I think we keep Jorginho for another season. because then that gives us another season to prepare for Jorginho's exit. And I think he'll want to stay. Like, obviously, that extension has to be agreed by Jorginho as well, but I do think he'll want to stay. Have you seen much of Zubimendi? Not a huge amount. I'd be lying if I said I watched Zubimendi week in, week out. But I remember last summer I'd watched a fair amount of him in terms of like extended highlights or longer compilations. And he does feel like, I mean, if we lose Partey, having lost Xhaka, we massively need to bring in a top passer of the ball and someone that can break lines with passes. He can definitely do that. He's a bit more athletic than Jorginho. Lokonga won't get the opportunities in this team to have a future here. I agree, but again, like, I think if we get rid of Lokonga, we have to have someone. Like, we do have to make sure that we're not in a position where injuries to Rice and Jorginho leave us massively strapped. So I do think Sambi stays, and I think Patino goes. And I saw quite a few of the replies were basically would rather keep Patino and sell Sambi Lokonga. But I do think part of that is more down to Patino being an academy player and Sambi Lokonga not being an academy player. Because if you were to just analyse what the two of them are doing right now, I think Sambi Lokonga is ahead of Patino. I think Patino's done, he did all right at Blackpool. He's done all right at Swansea, but he's not lighting the Championship on fire. And at that point, are you going to come back and be a genuine contender to play regularly for Arsenal? I don't think so. With Sambi Lokonga, I think I see a lot more from Sambi Lokonga, and have done recently at Luton, to suggest he's got the ability long term to be good enough for Arsenal. The question about Sambi Lokonga is mentality. And I do think that's something that can be coached. I think when you get a move to a big club too early, it can be damaging for you. I think a great example is Ross Barkley. I think Ross Barkley massively suffered at Chelsea, and maybe his mentality wasn't right, and it was too much for him. But I'll tell you what, at Luton now he looks unbelievable. So I do think there's more of a chance there for Sambi than Patino. And if you bring Sambi back in at a time where you're not relying on him, because I think there was a big issue previously where we were playing Sambi as a 6 and really relying on him, and I think it was just too much for him. But I think it'll be a big learning curve for him at Luton, and yeah, I think that he'll be in the squad next season. I don't think we'd be able to sell him for enough money to make it worthwhile selling him. Hayden Hackney at Borough, I look at as the right profile, cheapish, and many big clubs are looking at him. Yeah, I've seen a few bits about Hayden Hackney. Obviously, I don't watch a massive amount of the Championship, but I did see him watch both of the games against Chelsea. He looked impressive there, and I saw a few people. There's a guy called Ben Mattinson on Twitter who's really good, and he's done a thread on Hayden Hackney, and he did look like a good player. I don't know if he's ready for that step up to Arsenal yet, but he's a decent player by the looks of things. Where would you include Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri? I still don't think they're old enough. Is the truth. Like, people compare our youth to Man City, bringing on like Oscar Bob and players like that, but Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly are still a bit younger and still have a bit more maturing to do. I think we'll see a bit more of them next season, particularly Miles Lewis-Skelly, who I think is closer to being ready for it. I think we'll see a bit more of them next season if they're not sent out on loan. I'd like to think we'll see more of them in cup competitions and stuff, but I don't think there'll be a mainstay fixture in, week out Premier League squads just yet. If we bought Zubimendi and kept Georgie, I don't see where Lokonga gets the minutes. Well, it depends how the midfield operates next season, I guess. Because if the midfield is going to be more along the lines of Rice, Ødegaard, and then like a Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, Kai Havertz, then I think you're right. Or obviously Zubimendi. I'd hope we would rotate more next season. I don't think it's good to be playing Declan Rice like every single game, week in, week out. I think, if you can find games where you can give him a rest, that would be more ideal. I was reading a thing today that's the difference between us and Man City in terms of, to be fair, Rodri does play pretty much everything, but most of their players get rotated so much more than Arsenal players. And that's probably a reason that they're so good going into the second half of the season, because they're just fresher. I mean, look how much better we looked just after the Dubai break because players were fresh. So I think that's important. Malin says, hi, Rory. Thoughts on Lino Sousa leaving for Villa? Do you think Jack... I don't even know if that's a... I don't know if that's a fake name or not. But I'll talk about Lino Sousa leaving for Villa. Interesting is what I would call it. I thought he was close to being good enough to get a chance at Arsenal. And if he is close enough to getting a chance at Arsenal, he'll definitely get a chance at Villa. And Emery has a history of developing young players. It's got to be a fake name, right? I nearly went for it as well, but it's got to be. Yeah, I think it's a fake name. But yeah, with Lino Sousa, look, I wish him all the best to an extent, obviously. It'll just suck. It's one of those, right? It's always the risk of sending your academy graduates or selling your academy graduates to other good Premier League teams. Even if you don't send them to Premier League teams, even if they go abroad and start killing it, like you still end up ruining potential missed opportunities. Devin, good to see you. But with Lino Sousa, look, I guess the one way you could look at it with Lino Sousa was always going to be, we've had issues at left back all season, and Lino Sousa's been nowhere near it. So we've had, obviously, Tierney's gone out on loan. We've had Zinchenko injured. Timber's been out for the whole season. Tomiyasu's been at AFCON. And still Kivior has been the choice, not Lino Sousa. Lino apparently had a huge bust-up fallout that led to him being sold. Oh, interesting. Well, but again, that is the issue you can have with youth players if they think they should be getting game time and they're not, I guess. I don't know what the bust-up was about, but if it was about not being played, then you're at the point where what can you do? You know, if Arteta's sat there going, he's not good enough yet, he's not mature enough yet, it is what it is. Rory, to rest Rice, do you think Jorginho can play as the lone six with Smith Rowe, Havertz and Odegaard? My worry about Jorginho, Smith Rowe / Havertz and Odegaard is that midfield can get overrun quite easily, I think. Because if you think last year, even in the games where Jorginho played as the six and played well and we played well, you still had Xhaka there. So it would worry me. It would worry me a little bit. Kivior as the six, that's where he played at Spezia. I don't think he played there an awful lot at Spezia. I know he played a few times as the six. And I do think maybe Arteta can use him there more often than we have seen it. But do you know what? I thought he played really well. Second half against Liverpool, I thought he played really well. So I can understand in that sense why we've got rid of Lino Sousa. Do you think the Conference League counts as a trophy? My West Ham mate won't shut up. It counts as a trophy, yeah. The Conference League, it is a trophy. It's not a significant one, but it is a trophy. Yeah, Kivior was mainly a left centre-back, and I don't think really he was even a left-back. I think he was... Yeah, I think the vast majority of games that Kivior played at Spezia were at left centre-back. And I think he still is probably the backup to Gabriel. The lucky thing is Gabriel Magalhaes barely misses a game, but I still think Kivior is effectively the next... he's the backup left centre-back to Gabriel. He can do a job at left-back, and I think he's improving there. And he could probably do a job as a six as well. But this is the good thing about what we had. I remember, probably back the last time when I was actually regularly streaming, we were looking at the squad that we had built for the new season. And I remember looking across that back line, and we were going, at right back, you've got White, Timber, Tomiyasu. Centre back, you've got Saliba, Kivior, Gabriel, Timber, Tomiyasu, Ben White. And then at left back you've got Zinchenko, Tomiyasu, Timber, Kivior. It was always the fact that they're so versatile that's a massive advantage to our squad depth. Obviously, taking Timber out of that's been painful, but it is good that we have those players that can be that versatile across the back line. Would you like Hato from Ajax? Yeah. Again, maybe that's one of the reasons that we've let Lino Sousa go, because we're eyeing up Hato from Ajax. I mean, for a player to have of his age to already have his experience and his maturity and his ability, I mean, it would be massive. And obviously, I think we've got a good relationship with Ajax. So yeah, I would take it. I would take it. And I do think, Zinchenko's on thin ice, not in terms of ability, but in terms of injuries. Do you think we sign a backup to Saliba in the summer? Or can we leave it and prioritise other positions and just use Tommy White? Yeah, I don't think we'll sign a backup to Saliba. I think when you've got, like you said, when you've got White, you've got Timber. It's not a priority. It's definitely not a priority. Mark Noble or Mohamed El Neni? Mohamed El Neni, based on the fact that Mark Noble is retired. What's the news on Vieira? He seems to have been injured for a while and just disappeared from the scene. You're right. I don't really know what is happening. I don't really know what's happening with Fabio Vieira. Do you remember when he got injured? He got a red card. He got sent off. He's not played since he got sent off. He got sent off. Then he had some sort of small injury. He's just gone. He has just gone. You are right. It's I don't know where he is. But I think we've missed him. I actually do think we've missed him. I really thought he was improving this season, which is frustrating. I do fear Timber will be eased into the squad team as ESR and Martinelli, so I don't think Timber will feature this season. I think we will see him a little bit, but you're right. I don't think, we're not suddenly going to see, like the start of the season, it looked like Timber might have just nailed down a starting spot. We won't see that by the end of this season, I don't think. I think you're right. Would you beat Goldbridge in a wrestling match? Yes. I mean, respectfully, Goldbridge is what? Like, I don't know his exact age, but I think he's in his mid to late 40s. And I'd imagine I'm a fair bit taller than him as well. So, I back myself. I don't know why there's all this West Ham stuff in the chat. But I would take Ødegaard over Lucas Paqueta any day of the week. He had surgery. What did he have surgery on? I'm going to Google it. What did he have surgery on? Because I can't think of the last time that we actually had an update. Vieira's been absent since November with a groin injury, which required an operation. He has since returned to training, but didn't feature on the bench against Liverpool. There you go. So, in fact, we'll go through the injury latest now. So, Jurriën Timber is expected to potentially return in mid-March. And then, so Fabio Vieira might actually return. Well, according to this, Fabio Vieira might return in time for West Ham. Because I was going to say, I saw loads of him, I swear, in Dubai, right? We saw him in Dubai. How do you feel about the... Oh, yeah, good one. West Ham Central. Yeah, well, look, West Ham Central, if you're on Twitter, you'll know West Ham Central, and fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? Fair play to him. He's got bills to pay, and if Twitter's the way he... I mean, I'll tell you for free, when you've got bills to pay, Twitter is probably not the place that you want to be getting views, but whatever floats your goat, you know what I mean? We haven't had a decent keeper since Almunia. I still don't trust either Raya or Ramsdale between the posts. I disagree with that. I mean, Almunia wasn't very good to start with. I think Wojciech Szczesny was far too good for us to let go of. I think Leno was decent. Briefly Martinez, Ramsdale. Yeah, I do disagree with that. Have you followed AFCON Asia Cup at all? Nigeria currently drawing to South Africa in the 95th minute. Yeah, I've been following it a bit. Mainly, I'll be honest, I was mainly following like certain players and whether or not they were going to return. Who won out of Iran and Qatar in the end? Because to be honest, the Asia Cup's been going crazy in terms of upsets and stuff. Let me Yeah, what's going on in the Asian Cup? So the final of the Asia Cup is Jordan against Qatar. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, Qatar won 3-2. So they're like, I swear both of them are like a long way down the world rankings for one of them to win it. That's crazy. We had Czech after Almunia. Yeah, we had Czech as well. I mean, to be fair, I don't think Czech was brilliant for us. But we've definitely had decent keepers. Qatar are the hosts. Is it in Qatar? I don't know where it is. But it's pretty impressive. I mean, who have Qatar beaten? So they beat Palestine in the round of 16. They beat Uzbekistan in the quarterfinals. They beat Iran in the semifinals. So ban this Miles fella. Will do. Miles, you're gone. Who else can go? Tobias Terry seems like a bit of a knob. And he's gone as well. There you go. Seen your tweet on the Arsenal YouTube? Yeah, I did. I was on the Arsenal YouTube. It was pretty crazy. And Malin can probably go as well, I reckon. There you go. I think that was a fairly effective sweep of West Ham. Goodbye. You're gone. And by the way, we are gonna batter West Ham this weekend. I've got a feeling that a lot of pent-up frustration from the cup game and from the home game are going to be let out, and West Ham are going to get absolutely hammered. And I did mean that pun. I think they're going to get absolutely hammered. But they are gone from the chat. Feels like Qatar will win it all. Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how good Jordan are, but and then what's happening in AFCON now? Africa Cup of Nations. So you've got so the other semi-final is the Ivory Coast against Congo. And then you've got 1-1. Oh, wow. South Africa equalised with a 90th minute penalty. That's crazy. White 100% to score against West Ham. I would love it. And yeah, I do need to sort out the mod situation. But the PGMOL will go all out against us away to West Ham. They'll try and sell it as home bias. Maybe. I mean, a lot of people I think do get home bias. We just don't seem to. That's the one thing that annoys me, right? Is I get that referees can be influenced by the crowd, but I do feel like, when we go away to Newcastle or Villa or Liverpool or Old Trafford, like we get nothing. But then in our home games, the referees just don't seem to care for the home fans. That's the only thing I find annoying. After the Pen Havertz didn't get versus Liverpool, we all know how it's going down. Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest. I didn't think it was probably a penalty against Liverpool for Havertz, but it's 100% one of those where you go, you've definitely seen them give them before, and if he gives it, it's not going to get overturned by VAR. And that, I think, is the biggest issue in general with VAR, is the amount of times where we're like, well, if he did do it, it wouldn't get overturned. Well, in that case, you think it's a penalty. Going back to work, have a good stream. Thank you, Devin. Good to see you. Totally Carl, good to see you as well. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues to an ex or current Gooner, and you have to guess who it is. First person to get it right in the chat is a legend, a top Gooner, and gets the immense pride and respect of the entire community. So, starting with clue number 1 of today's Guess the Gooner, and the clue is, this player won 4 league titles and 3 FA Cups. 4 league titles and 3 FA Cups. It is not Emmanuel Abue. Clue number 2. This player scored 5 goals in 66 games for England. 5 goals in 66 games for England. Clue number 3. They spent their entire career at Arsenal appearing 669 times. Entire career at Arsenal. And there we go. We've had the first correct answer. I will continue with the rest of the clues. Clue number 4. They were the Arsenal captain for 14 years. Arsenal captain for 14 years. And clue number 5. They competed on Strictly Come Dancing in 2022. So 4 league titles and 3 FA Cups, 5 goals in 66 games for England, spent their entire career at Arsenal, 669 appearances, Arsenal captain for 14 years, and competed on Strictly Come Dancing in 2022. And the correct answer was, of course, the one and only Tony Adams. And it was VV Vlad that got it first. BX Gunner was second. David was third. Thomas Willis was fourth. And Trevor was fifth. But there you go. It was Tony Adams. What a goat. What a goat. That's just unheard of these days. To go from academy to 669 appearances for the club, 14 years as club captain. It's mental. It's mental. He became he became club captain when he was 21, which was in, I think, 1988, and was captain until he retired, which was in 2002. Yeah, like you said, quite literally Mr. Arsenal. Quite literally Mr. Arsenal. And now it is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. This is where I give you a player's career path that hasn't played for Arsenal, doesn't play for Arsenal, and you have to guess who that player is. I do prefer the old style of Guess the Gooner. We need to visit daily to adjust. Yeah, the thing is, Ross, I kind of did as well, but I explained it yesterday. The problem was we've done 90% of the modern day players. So I will, if I just do it the old way, I will literally just be repeating what we've already done before. So we'll do the clues for a while. Anyway, Guess the Non-Gooner. This player started their career at Leicester City. Yeah, William Saliba, you have just missed Guess the Gooner. It was Tony Adams. Won 2 league titles with George Graham and 2 with Wenger. Yeah, I think so. Because he won 2 first division titles before it was the Premier League, and then he won 2 Premier League titles, which was why I had to be careful with the wording of the clue just to say league titles rather than Premier Leagues or whatever. So they started at Leicester City. It's not Vardy. It's not Kante. They went to Liverpool. They went to Birmingham City, Wigan Athletic, Aston Villa, Newcastle Jets, and Bolton Wanderers. So Leicester, Liverpool, Birmingham City, Wigan Athletic, Aston Villa, Newcastle Jets, and Bolton Wanderers. No one has got it so far. It's not Maddison, it's not Barnes, it's not Kane, it's not Hendo, it's not Ward, it's not Milner, it's not Murphy. It goes on. And we've got the correct answer. We've got the correct answer. It is indeed one of the true GOATs, Emile Heskey. And it was David that got it first. Ross Lawman was second. George Christodoulou was third. VV Vlad was fourth. And William Saliba, with Haaland in his pocket, was fifth. So there you go. The one and only Emile Heskey. It's Heskey time. There you go. Congratulations to our winners. Congratulations, David, for getting Guess the Non-Gooner. VV Vlad, of course, back in style, winning the Guess the Gooner. And there you go. Predictions. Get your predictions in the chat for Chelsea against Aston Villa tonight. At Aston Villa versus Chelsea, I should say. It's at Aston Villa. The replay of the FA Cup. Big night for Mauricio Pochettino. Big night for Mauricio Pochettino. Villa 4-1. 2-0 Villa. Villa 3-1. Villa 2-1. Villa 3-0. Villa 2-1. No one thinks anything other than a Villa win. which really tells you the place that Chelsea are at, doesn't it? Is there a way they can both lose? Well, I'll tell you what, right? The way that they kind of can both lose, the ideal outcome, because look, I don't think we are competing with Villa in the league, but just to ease off some of that pressure for like top 4, if it ever gets to that point, I think the ideal outcome is it goes all the way to penalties and Villa win. So Villa have to play a midweek game of 120 minutes, which might hamper them for their next Premier League game, and Chelsea lose. When is Guess the Gooner? Unfortunately, Smithy, we have just wrapped up Guess the Gooner. We have just done Guess the Gooner, unfortunately. Do you think Poch gets sacked? No, I don't. I don't think Poch gets sacked because they can't afford it. They literally can't afford it. He's losing his mind. He's losing. I made a TikTok last night. The guy is lost. The guy is lost. He had Ben Chilwell came out after the Wolves game and literally said they wanted it more than us. They played like they wanted it more than us. And then Pochettino came out and said, Chilwell never said that. It's like literally there are clips of it on the internet. Like he literally said it. What else did he do? He was complaining that Liverpool didn't get the same criticism that Chelsea got for losing. He was complaining about something else as well. He was complaining at the fact that Villa played on Saturday and Chelsea played on Sunday, despite the fact that before they played Wolves played on Thursday and they played on Wednesday. Like, he's absolutely cracking. He also said that, I think he said Middlesbrough beat Brighton last season, and they didn't. It was the complete other way around. So, yeah, it's just, he's lost the plot. He has lost the plot. Please don't tell me I've missed Guess the Gooner. You have, unfortunately, Brexit Outcast podcast. You have, unfortunately, missed Guess the Gooner. The aim is always going to be to do Guess the Gooner at about 7 o'clock. If we start at 6:30, I'm always going to try and do Guess the Gooner at about 7 o'clock. So you need to get yourselves here for 7 if you want to see it. Bucket Hat Sam, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Only 3 players have left from a UCL winning squad. Oh, only 3 players are left from the UCL winning squad, James, Silver and Chilwell. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, how are you meant to have a functioning squad when that's and bear in mind, right? The 3 players that they've got from that Champions League winning squad, James, Silver and Chilwell, Thiago Silva is the only one of them that regularly plays because James and Chilwell are constantly injured. It's crazy. It's crazy. I want Villa to win in regular time because they play United next. Yeah, but I think I would actually... I'd prefer Man United beat Villa. I genuinely think if we do somehow get sucked into a top 4 race, which I don't think we will, but if we do, it's far more likely to be in a battle with Villa than it is Man United. Obviously, it could be a top 5 race, which wouldn't matter, but hear me out. Tim Cahill would have cooked at left 8. I'll hear you out. How do you super chat? I don't know how you super chat, to be honest. I remember what's his name. There was what was the name of that absolute goat that used to super chat all the time? He was beginning to pay for my new PC. I can't remember his name. That's really bad. Eden. What was his name? That's really bad that I've forgotten it because he was actually a legend of the stream. We don't want United on a run when we go to Old Trafford. Yeah, but we're a while away from going to Old Trafford. When do we go to Old Trafford? Not for a while. Because we've got a relatively nice set of fixtures, really. Like our next set of Premier League fixtures, we've got West Ham away, Burnley away, Newcastle at home, which will be tough, and then Sheffield away, Brentford at home, Chelsea at home. Yeah, no, we don't play Man United until the end of the season. We play we play at Old Trafford, second to last game of the season, so I'm not worried about that. Oh yeah, the laggy PC. Well, the thing is, right, I've done nothing to the PC, and so far we've not had a single crash. So we might be back. Unai will bottle it anyway. Yeah, possibly. Do you think the summer window might be quieter than usual? The whole FFP thing and the quiet Jan window might be telling. Well, I was worried about that, but then I've seen quite a few Eden lives in the USA. He was the super chatter. Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was the guy. He was a goat. I've seen quite a few journalists saying that we're going to have a big summer. We're going to have a big summer. So the thing is, it's because you can only spend. It's because it's done like the FFP thing's done on those 3-year cycles. So for whatever reason, like basically, I think if we get to the end of the season, we get a ton of money for Champions League and all that stuff, and then we can spend it. I think he was Swedish. I can't remember. I definitely no, because he was in America for the. I remember him super chatting during the preseason tour, and he was watching a game in America. What grounds can we potentially win the league at? Well, we can win it at Old Trafford. That would be the dream, right? Second to last game. Okay, so the two big ones that we could win it at: Old Trafford, 2 games before the end, or Spurs, but that's 4 games before the end. And if we have somehow wrapped up the title 4 matches before the end of the season, I would be blown away. Yeah, the final match of the season's at home against Everton, so that's a guaranteed win. Everton last day of the season is just vibes always. But yeah, Old Trafford second to last game. That's the one. That's got to be the one. Tony versus Osimhen, thoughts? For me, you try and get Osimhen and you fall back on Tony. That's what it's got to be for me. You go for Osimhen, and if it doesn't work, you go for Tony. I think Arsenal are overdue winning the title at home. That's true. Can you imagine how much they'll complain about our celebrations if we win the league? God. They'll be, get down the tunnel. All you've done is won the league. Man City have won the leagues 5 times out of the last 6. You don't see them celebrating like this. Get back down the tunnel. Yeah, last game's at the Emirates. So we've got basically our final 4 games. We've got Spurs away, Bournemouth at home, United away, Everton at home. That'd be glorious. Guard of Honor at United and Spurs. Yeah, but the thing is, to get the Guard of Honor, you have to have won it before the game. So to get the Guard of Honor, we'd have to have won it playing at home against Bournemouth, and then we'd get the Guard of Honor coming out at Old Trafford. I think. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked when we had to give the Guard of Honor to Robin van Persie. Absolutely horrific moment. The views fell off a little bit. Yeah, look, there's still like 40 or 50 of you in here for most of the stream, which is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Jamie Carragher changing his profile picture on Twitter. Embarrassing. Yeah, exactly. It's so embarrassing. I don't know why it rattled them so much either. I genuinely don't understand how it got them all so rattled. Chelsea 05 or Klopp 2020, which had the better season? Seeing the question trending. I'd say Chelsea 05. I'd say Chelsea 05. Because of the teams that they were realistically competing with at the time. Like, you were competing with a very, very high-level Arsenal team, a very, very high-level United team. To do it and to concede 15 goals, like, that was mental. That was horrific versus United with RVP. It was. It was. It was indeed. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. I am nearly at the point where I'll be streaming gaming later in the evening from like 10 until midnight, playing FIFA and stuff like that. Really, whatever other people want me to play whilst chatting along. But until then, and until tomorrow, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. I hope the Chelsea Villa game is just good, no matter what happens. And I will catch you all tomorrow. Good evening and goodbye.